I'm here with Animal Services Director Dan Bugg to talk to you a little bit about what happens behind the scenes at the Hot Springs Animal Shelter. As most of you know, it's located on Davidson Drive right off of Shady Grove Road, and it opens at noon
That's
each,
correct.
each
Yes,
weekday.
ma'am.
But there's plenty that happens before that hour,
Right.
right?
Well, yes, there's a lot going on here in the morning. We do all our kennel cleaning and animal care in the morning for the whole facility. We have several thousand square feet of kennels and cat cages, stainless steel cages, and so we have to have the time to properly clean and care for the animals, clean their dishes, their bowls, their litter receptacles, all kinds of stuff has to be done. And so we use a lot of disinfectant. And then we go behind that with a deodorizer. So there's a lot of moisture around here, and there's a lot of water hoses running around. So it's not a place for the public to be traipsing through and tripping over hoses or slipping and falling. So that's why we spend the first half of the day, the kennel personnel do, of taking care of the animals in the facility. Now the office staff is here answering phones, taking animal complaints in the morning. We have field officers that are running calls in the morning, and so there's a whole myriad of things going on between 8 and noon here every day.
It's amazing how clean those kennels, each of the runs look.
We take it personal. It's our place. We have to take care of it.
Now, a big part of your operations here are the twice weekly spay and neuter clinics. Tell us more about how that works.
Now, the spay and neuters are not facilitated to the public as a spay and neuter clinic as for the public. The spay and neuters we do here at the facility are based on adoptions. State law requires that all animals being placed either through a humane society, an animal shelter, or a rescue be spayed and neutered through the adoption process, and actually technically before the person, the new owner, takes custody of the animal. Now that doesn't occur on some cases if the animal's too young to be spayed or neutered or doesn't weigh at least 3 pounds. Our veterinarian will not spay or neuter anything that doesn't weigh at least 3 pounds. So those get adopted, they get taken home, and they're scheduled to return at a later date when the animal's of age or of weight to be properly spayed and neutered. So state law requires that. So they're spayed and neutered. If the animal is of that age, it's fixed that morning. And we do that on Tuesdays and Friday mornings. And then that afternoon, the folks can come pick up their animal. And before they pick up their animal, we microchip all cats and dogs being adopted from this facility.
Now, is this all part of the adoption fee?
The adoption fee is $55 for a dog and $35 for a cat. I pay most of that money to the veterinarian for doing the surgery work. Now, we, on top of that, have a spay and neuter clinic here in the building, which is where this occurs. We stock and supply this surgery suite with all the supplies for surgery, oxygen, anesthesia, everything that's done and used, sutures, everything in surgery, we're stocked besides the veterinarian. So our cost not only is for paying the veterinarian to provide that service, then we have to keep the surgery suite clean, operational, and properly stocked for surgery. So that's not an inexpensive thing. So in an adoption, there's no money to be made in adoption. We are just grateful and thankful we can place that animal into a new home, and so cost usually isn't a factor, and so that's why we keep our adoption cost rate way down, lower than most facilities you'll run into, simply because that's our goal, and we don't make money on it. We lose money on every adoption, but at the same time, we're getting the animal placed into a positive new home.
And tell us a little bit more about vaccinations. If you've adopted an animal from Animal Services, can you ask the veterinarians to help with that?
Well, what happens on dog intake, specifically dog intake, every dog that comes in this facility gets, for shelter health reasons, gets vaccinated with Bordetella for kennel cough, gets distemper and parvo vaccination before it gets placed in a cage. So it's already had those vaccinations, but it comes here to, I don't want that dog contracting something I've already got here that came into the shelter, because vaccinating an animal for kennel cough, if the dog's already got kennel cough, isn't going to solve the problem. It's only going to vaccinate it and build antibodies later. It takes these vaccines about 10 days to take effect. So a lot of the times, by the time the vaccines we've given the animals that have come in is taking effect, they're going out the door through adoption. Now, the only thing we don't give here is a rabies shot. That's required to give by a licensed veterinarian. Several times we've had folks come in and ask about that and want to get that done through the adoption process. And so we contact the veterinarian, and she will bring a rabies shot over for that particular pet, and she will charge those individuals for that shot away outside of the adoption process.
What kind of care does the veterinarian staff give to the dogs and cats here at the shelter?
Well, they give any animal on the list for spay and neuter that day, they screen them very hard for any kind of sniffles or sneezes or any issues, health issues that might be bubbling below the surface. And if that's the case, they bump that animal for a few weeks until we get that cleared up with the animal. The owner will take their animal the new pet to a veterinarian, or maybe it's just the animal's too young or small. Of course, we get them bumped to a further date. And then we do have the vet call several times a month on animals we have coming here that are injured, that have come in injured off of impound out of the county or the city, and we'll either take the animal to her practice to have her look at it, or she'll come over here and assess the animal, or she'll assess the animal when she's over here for a spay and neuter. Okay, we want you to check a dog in 29 or pen 13. It's got some things I'm not too sure about. Would you please look at it and tell me what you think? So we have animals assessed that are questionable, that show us physical aspects of injuries all the time. That happens all the time.
Well, it sounds like they do administer a myriad of services.
Yes, they do.
And with great care and compassion.
Yes, they do.
That's wonderful. Speaking of compassion, I'm sure that it takes some special qualities to be a member of the staff here at Animal Services. What kind of qualities do you look for in an employee here?
I look for a person that first of all, is a self-starter, can work without being pushed all the time to get their work done. Then once we train them and show them what the work is, I don't expect to have to go chase them around every day just to do the basic duties, number one. Number two, they have to have that aptitude. But number two, they have to have a care and concern for animals and a care and concern for people, because people always say, well, Dan, you're the animal guy. And I said, well, yeah, that's kind of true, but really what I deal with and what we deal with in animal services are people problems. And animals are actually just a byproduct of the people issue. So the animals are just going to be animals. The dogs are going to be dogs. Dogs are going to do what dogs do, and cats are going to do what cats do. It's the people factor that makes us kind of fit in the middle here, and we're the kind of the middle step in those situations.
If we people could just get our acts together.
Well, sometimes I wish.
Yes.
I do.
Is there anything that you'd like to add as we wrap up?
Well, I just, always look forward to seeing folks come out here. We have a lot of families come through with the kids looking for pets and new friends and new family members. But, they need to understand that what you're taking home is a new family member. And, the thing I've learned over and over in animal shelter work for almost 40 years now, or 41 years actually, is that three things in life I've learned are disposable. Children are disposable for some reason, relationships are disposable, and animals are disposable in our society. And that's kind of the wrap of what we deal with. So we want people to understand that what they have is a living, caring being that thinks probably more of them, of the human, than they do themselves, and that's what they're taking home with them, and they need to understand that and apply that in their life.
It's such a wonderful thing to come out here, adopt a pet, and give them a home.
Yep.
There are many every day that they can come and choose from.
Yep.
And Animal Services will help you with lots of issues that you have with your pets as
Yeah,
well. There's lots of
stay
education
full.
here.
Yes, we do. We will help anybody with. I've got a lady calling me from Walnut Ridge, Arkansas. Evidently her brother passed away, and the Humane Society of Animal Control came and got his dog. I'm trying to help her track that dog down because it was her brother's, and she would like to have it. So we help folks from all over the place.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure every day, different issues.
Yes, always.
Thanks for giving us a bit of a behind-the-scenes look today at the
Sure.
Hot Springs Animal Shelter. Come on down here, and you can visit with a friendly staff. They can help you with whatever you might be looking for in a pet.
We'd be glad to help you do anything you want. Place an animal. I've had people come out here and want help getting an animal placed that they've got. So I've actually sometimes put them up on a pet finder site trying to get the animal out there in front of folks so they can make a transition from one home to another without coming through here.
Dan, thank you for all you do and for all that your staff does here out at Hot
Glad to
Springs
do it.
Animal Services.
We're proud to do it.
And next week we'll bring you more city news.